San Francisco, 2013, the Richmond District Police Station. An envelope arrives in the mail. Handwritten, no return address.
Inside is a letter, and the writer gets straight to the point. He has urgent news. His name is John Anglin. He says that in June 1962, he escaped from Alcatraz with his brother Clarence and a man named Frank Morris.
He says he's 83 years old now, and he says he's in bad shape. He says he has cancer.
He says the other two are gone, Frank first, his brother a few years back. He is, he says, the last one.
And he makes an offer. Announce on television that I will serve no more than a year and that I will get medical care. Do that, and I will write back and tell you exactly where I am. And he closes by insisting that this is not a joke.
Because even back then, healthcare might be worth jail time. So we have 51 years of official history that says the man who wrote this letter drowned in the San Francisco Bay on the night of June 11th, 1962. The letter has one sentence for the official history.
Yes, we all made it that night, but barely.
This is The Great Escape from Alcatraz, Part 2 of 2.
Sneaky footsteps in the night, clues that vanish out of sight. Grab your hat and magnifying glass. We'll talk this case and have a blast. Mugshot mysteries, we're on the trail. Twists and turns that never fail. Laughs and chills, it's quite the show. Who did it? Tune in to know.
Welcome back to Mugshot Mysteries. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Gabriel. And if you have not heard Part 1, stop this episode and maybe go back. It's up to you, really.
I mean, do it.
Well, I'm not the boss of you, but I get it. Could be driving, be blow drying your hair. So, with that said, here's a recap. Catherine, grab the mic.
Ready? The short version for, the rule breakers out there, but also really just go listen to it. June 11th, 1962. Frank Morris and the brothers John and Clarence Anglin spend 9 months digging out of Alcatraz, America's most secure prison, with sharpened spoons, hide the holes behind painted cardboard, and build a raft out of 50 stolen raincoats in a workshop on top of their own cell block.
Okay, good start, Catherine.
Thank you.
Now my turn. Because on that night, they leave really unintentionally terrifying dummy heads in their bed. They climb out through the roof. They push that raft into the San Francisco Bay just a little bit before midnight. There's a fourth man in this. His name is Alan West, and he accidentally cements himself into the cell due to really bad decisions.
The other three paddle into the dark.
And the dark envelops them like a hug from your very hefty aunt.
Part 1 was the escape. Tonight is everything after. The manhunt, the verdict the government wrote, and the 64 years of cards, photographs, experiments, and one letter that kept prying that verdict back open, kicking and screaming.
Because here is tonight's entire episode in one very brief sentence. 3 men are declared dead, and 0 bodies are ever recovered. Pure cinema. Everything else lives inside this little gap. Let's go back to the island and fill in that gap so hard we turn this into an Old Navy. Gee, I know.
It's a solid, wow.
It's a 2-star on the dad scale.
1.5. All right, so it's June 12th, 1962 at 7:20 in the morning. The escape siren is rolling across the water, and Alcatraz is doing something it has never done in 28 years of business, counting its men and coming up 3 short.
And when the lights go out, you don't want to be 3 shorter.
That sounds very ominous.
No, it sounds very disappointing for the girl. So
Oh my
the
God.
island is locked down, and the men who had to pick up the phone and tell Washington, they're not even the warden. The warden is away. His deputy inherits the worst Tuesday in the history of the Bureau of Prisons. The warden gets to say, hey, I wasn't here, man. I totally karate chopped those guys into submission, man. If only I had been there, man.
Now listen, the situation is already worrying. The men were gone from their cells by 10 the night before. The head start isn't minutes. It's 9, 10 hours. I mean, that's pretty substantial.
It is, but if they did drown, the head start is really just Ringo irrelevant here. If they didn't, they could be 2 states away before the first helicopter even lifts off. Every decision this morning gets made based off of those two facts.
Within the hour, the search looks something like you'd see in a Michael Bay movie. Coast Guard cutters, Army helicopters out of the Presidio, prison launches, police boats, FBI agents fanning out on both shores. Also, soldiers thinking maybe the least amount of effort will suffice. Walk Angel Island in long lines, beating the brush for 3 men in prison clothes.
By mid-morning, this is a public event. Radio bulletins are up and down the coast. Crowds along the marina and Fisherman's Wharf. They're all staring across the water with binoculars, watching helicopters circle the one prison in America you can see from the sidewalk. For 28 years, being visible was the threat. Look, but never touch. And hopefully never meet. This whole city is looking, and the Rock looks like they got pantsed in front of the girls in the PE line.
Every camera in the Bay Area is pointed at 22 acres, and not one of them can see the only thing that matters, which direction 3 men went.
And back in the cell house, the fastest talker on the Rock begins a performance that customer service Catherine would be very proud of.
It's a gift. What can I say? This fast talker is Alan West. He's the 4th man, the one whose own cement patch trapped him in his cell while his crew pushed off without him. Officials pull him in, and West doesn't ask for a lawyer. West narrates like this is a freaking audiobook.
He talks about the vents, the spoons, the blanket curtain, the raft, the vest, the concertina, the soap heads. Nearly everything you heard about in part 1 the world knows because Alan West could not stop talking. Investigators spent years confirming the details. West hands him the whole shebang before it's even lunchtime.
Now, in exchange, he is never charged for the attempt. Some could say that's mercy for cooperating. Now, the other reason, the Bureau decides the last thing it needs is a public trial where a man explains, under oath, just exactly how easy this was.
Both of these versions end the same way. West stays, West talks more. West watches the bay out his window like everybody else.
And for 2 full days, the bay says nothing. That is the first strange fact. This is a busy, watched, crowded body of water with half the federal government churning across it, and it hands back nothing at all.
No raft, no bodies, no men, as if the water simply shut them down like a trapdoor.
Now on June 14th, it starts talking. A paddle floating in the water off Angel Island. It's handmade, plywood, and unmistakably theirs.
The same day, searchers pull in a packet riding the swell wrapped and sealed tight in rubber. And it's watertight. Someone built this to survive the crossing. Inside are letters and photographs and names and addresses. They're the Anglin family, friends, contacts, the entire paper life of 2 brothers, all waterproofed, all floating alone.
In the days after, shreds of rubber that read as raincoat, a homemade life vest, and later, word of a second vest found out past the Golden Gate, its mouthpiece carrying what examiners describe as teeth marks.
What does a chewed valve have to do with anything, you might say, Catherine? Well,
Totally.
The teeth marks indicate that the life vest may have been deflating, and in order to keep it afloat, they were biting the leaking valve. Who knows? The valve still refuses to testify whether that person was drowning or just cold and busy and like to bite their lips like you. It's one of those questions that the smart and dumb alike don't really have a good answer to.
Weeks later comes another report out of this strange summer. A Norwegian freighter about 20 miles beyond the Golden Gate finds the crew looking down at something in the water. A body that's floating face down and what looks like denim. The ship doesn't stop. The report only surfaces long after the fact, and the body's never seen again.
Maybe an escapee, maybe any of the bay's other tragedies. The Pacific does not take names, and it doesn't give receipts.
And what never turns up, that summer or ever, is the raft. 50 raincoats, steam sealed and triple stitched, gone. The intensive search runs on for days, shrinking as it goes, and the bay simply just keeps its secrets.
Because we know when it's cold, there is some shrinking involved. So, meanwhile, on the land, the FBI runs the other half of the hunt, and this is a quieter half. Every car theft around the bay that night, they're investigating. Every clothing store burglary, they're investigating. Every stolen boat, missing dinghy, raided cabin, unlocked garage, empty cookie jars.
Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar?
Cookies from the cookie jar.
This pod is just bringing out something else in us. You're welcome, everybody. Well, guess what? They find none. No car reported stolen, no burglary that fits, no boat is missing, and as far as the paperwork of the entire Bay Area is concerned, on the night of June 11th, 3 soaking wet men in prison clothes needed nothing from anyone.
And to the FBI, the silence is evidence. Men who make land generally need pants. Men who never make land, or who are very good looking, do not need pants.
Wow, babe. Wow. Now, the phones, they become a circus. Within a day, a man claiming to be John Anglin calls the San Francisco lawyer to arrange a surrender and hangs out when she pushes back. A man claiming to be Frank Morris calls the acting warden and fails the personal history pop quiz. A postcard shows up at the FBI office signed with all 3 names, message amounting to basically, haha, we made it.
Handwriting is wrong. Fingerprints, wrong. All the fakes teach the government a lesson that it never forgets about this case. When the Alcatraz escape knocks, just assume it's drunk and it's lying off its ass.
17 days in, every object the water has coughed up points the same direction, down.
And the men holding those widgets start writing an ending that matches just that.
Now, let's take you to Washington. It's the summer of 1962, and this case lands on the biggest desk in the building. J. Edgar Hoover's FBI takes it as a priority, and the Bureau of Prisons takes it personally, because Alcatraz was never just a prison. It was a promise to a lot of things.
28 years of nobody escapes from Alcatraz. The entire brand is a perfect record. And a perfect record comes with very hard rules. An escape only counts if the men reaches the land alive. No proof of land, no escape. No flag, no country.
Thank you. As soon as you said it, I'm like, Eddie Izzard, anybody? No flag, no country, and those are the rules that I've just made up.
So no body, no escape.
And those are the rules that they just made up.
Yes.
Well, in 1937, 2 men vanished into the fog off this island and were never seen again. No bodies, no sightings, so the Bureau ruled them drowned.
A quarter century later, that rule has not changed because it can't change. The moment it changes, Alcatraz has a losing record. And like the Globetrotters, that cannot happen. So the answer is what the answer has always been. Missing means drowned. Drowned means the record holds and Alcatraz wins again.
This means a specific thing needs to be true. 3 specific men need to be dead. Not presumed dead, but like dead, like dead.
Because most manhunts, they do want the fugitive found. This one wants them floating down the Pacific coast like seaweed. A live Anglin walking into the police station, it would be bad press indeed.
And to be fair to the police, the evidence cooperates. The water is 52 degrees and the currents are real. The paddle, the packet, the vest, they all read like a raft coming apart at sea. The silence on the mainland reads like men who never arrived. So drown isn't exactly a crazy conclusion. It really never was crazy to think that.
It's just a convenient one. And you know what they say about convenient truths? Mm-hmm. I have no idea what they do, but I do know convenience means lazy. And lazy usually means valuable. And within a year, this convenience takes a few jabs right to the nose.
Punch 1 lands on December 16th, 1962. 6 months after the escape, Alcatraz has another one. 2 inmates, John Paul Scott and Darrell Parker, go out a kitchen window and into the water.
Parker makes it about 100 yards to a little rock offshore that everyone calls Little Alcatraz, which is really cute. Mm-hmm. Parker clings to this mini-me until he's collected, which, no disrespect, he shot a shot. He shot it quickly and very ineffectually. It happens to the best of us.
Scott keeps going, and he has rubber kitchen gloves, inflated and knotted, stuffed under his shirt as floats. He aims for the city and disappears into the dark water.
Hours later, 2 teenagers are walking the shoreline at Fort Point, directly underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, and they find a body on the rocks. They call the police to report a drowned man.
Now, the drowned man is alive. Hypothermic, unconscious, spent down to nothing, but he is alive. John Paul Scott just swam from Alcatraz to San Francisco with dish gloves and lived.
So, since he got this wonderful medical treatment, they warm his ass up at the hospital and he's back in the cell by nightfall. He got a whole drive-through tour of San Francisco and he just slept through it, man.
It's unfortunate. Now, the Bureau notes correctly that Scott was recaptured, so the perfect record technically still holds.
It technically holds. Underneath the record, the Bay always finishes the job. It's lying on the rocks at Fort Point, coughing up seawater. From December 16th, 1962 onward, ground is no longer guaranteed. It's probably...
Now, Punch 2 lands the following spring, March 21st, 1963. 9 months after 3 men crawl out through the deferred maintenance walls of Alcatraz, the government closes Alcatraz for good.
So what is the reason? Officially, and this part is true, the decision had been coming for years. The island is rotting, the costs run triple everyone else's. The reports have said so since the 50s. This has nothing to do with the escape, they say. The government maintains that the two events are unrelated. The government maintains a lot of things.
The last inmates ship out in chains, reporters watching from the boats. The most feared address in America becomes surplus federal property with a nice view. And the last prisoner down the ramp tells the reporters the island never did anybody any good.
The myth dies at 29. The cause of death, officially, is the budget. The cause of death, unofficially, spoons in an accordion.
Absolutely. And that same year, the case gets its only body. Skeletal remains wash up at Point Reyes north of the gate, and scraps of what might be denim. 1963 forensic science looks hard at them and shrugs. No identification, no name.
The one physical body this case ever produces checks in as an unknown John Doe skeleton, and they throw him back in the box.
The case, though, does not close with the prison. For 17 years, the FBI works it. Thousands of pages, sightings phoned in from every state and half of South America. A tip in a bar, a face on a bus, a rumor on a ranch. Everyone run down, and everyone is a dead end.
17 years of the phone ringing and the answer being no. And the file is public now, digitized and posted by the Bureau itself. Anyone with an internet connection can read the whole chase, tip by tip, page by page, thousands of pages of no, 56K modem, taking up everybody's phone lines.
Alan West never sees the end of it. The man who built the plan and missed the boat goes in and out of prisons for the rest of his life and dies in a Florida cell in 1978.
Of these 4 men who dug their way out of the rock, he is the only one the government can ever fully account for. The one who stayed because his cementing skills weren't all that great.
Or they were. I'm just saying. He fixed the hole.
It was a hole.
You ever seen The Wedding Singer? Anyway. And then, on December 31st, 1979, on New Year's Eve, the FBI closes its file with a formal conclusion. On the weight of everything gathered, the 3 men most likely drowned in the bay, and the Pacific took what the bay did not keep.
Most likely. Even the ending hedges. 17 years, thousands of pages, and the last word on this is most likely? Yes. It's an 8-ball version of an answer. All signs point to yes. It isn't a yes, because if Lloyd Christmas has taught us anything, there's always a chance.
And the file doesn't exactly go to a shelf. It goes across the hall to the United States Marshal Service, whose rules are older and simpler than anyone's. There's a warrant. The men on it are fugitives, and fugitives get hunted.
The FBI's last day on this case is New Year's Eve, 1979. The Marshal's first day is the rest of forever, like some grumpy timekeepers.
It's Christmas 1962 in Ruskin, Florida, which is just south of Tampa. The Anglin family settled here off the farm circuit with, 14 kids worth of a family, and since June, this house has had an audience.
Watching is a polite way of saying stocked. Mail monitored. Visitors are noted. Cars at the end of the road. For years, the federal government attends Anglin family gatherings like their third cousins. Weddings, reunions, they're at funerals. They never once RSVP. Anglin kids grow up learning that parked sedans on the street look like that when they belong to nobodies with black sunglasses.
Now, the logic is sound by cop math. The cop math involves less shopping at Target and more unrelenting surveillance. If the brothers lived, the brothers will reach for home. So watch home. It's like a dog circling the last place they saw their bone.
And the family's answer for 60 years now has been that the brothers did reach home. Just never in a form that a stakeout could put into cuffs.
It is the first Christmas after the escape, and the family's telling. The mail comes to the house in Ruskin like any other day, and inside the stack is an envelope, and inside the envelope is a Christmas card. It's signed John and Clarence, and the handwriting is handwriting this family has known its entire life. Rachel Anglin is standing in her kitchen holding a piece of paper that either proves her sons are alive or it's a cruel joke perpetuated by people.
Yeah, go pound sand, assholes. The family says a card comes at first Christmas, and the next, and the one after that. 3 Christmases. And after the third one, the cards just stop and never come again. That's 3 data points, and then that lead flatlines like it's had a coronary. The FBI asks to examine them. Family lets them. The Bureau walks away unconvinced, and the family walks away unmoved, and the cards go into the drawer for the next 50 years.
Their mother, Rachel, starts receiving roses. Year after year, the family says. No note, no name, just roses arriving for a woman with 2 sons at the bottom of a bay.
None of it's proof, and the FBI treats it accordingly. Cards can be forged, obviously. Handwriting can be imitated. Flowers can be ordered by anyone, including asshole strangers.
And the family's answer holds its own weight. A forgery this good requires a forger who loved them enough to keep a private hoax running for years, for no money and no outside audience. The roses required somebody, somewhere, paying a florist for a decade.
January 1964 is when this chapter stops being cute.
The family loses a third brother, Alfred, the oldest of the 3 who robbed that bank in 1958, who was serving his time at Kilby Prison in Alabama, days ahead of a parole hearing. Officials say he tried to go over the wire and died on an electrified fence.
This is just days ahead of a parole hearing. People do desperate, irrational things in prison, and sometimes a fence is just a fence and still. You don't need to be a conspiracy podcast to read that sentence twice.
The family reads it twice and never stops. Relatives say that at a prison visit shortly before he died, Alfred told them he knew where John and Clarence were. The family has believed ever since that the visiting room was listened to, and that what happened on that fence deserved harder questions than it ever got.
Half a century later, for a documentary, the family has Alfred exhumed, looking for an answer about how he really died. The examination doesn't settle it. Some questions just hold their breath like Smalls waiting for his chance.
1973. Rachel Anglin dies. At her funeral, among the mourners, the family notices 2 women, unusually tall, heavy makeup, faces nobody in a very large family can quite place. They keep to themselves and they leave.
Now, this is my favorite story of this whole story. The family's conviction to this day is that they buried their mother while her 2 missing sons did girl cosplay in the ground. Because the men in the parking lot photographing license plates made everything else impossible, including just wearing a fake mustache and a hat, like normal people do undercover.
Maybe.
And full Doubtfire.
I mean, I need to see this. But, maybe it is grief finding its people in a crowd of strangers, some with questionable lip liner.
And then there's one more family account told years later that catches everyone's eye. There's a 4th brother, Robert. Before he died in 2010, relatives say he told them he had been in personal contact with John and Clarence from 1963 all the way until around 1987. And then around 1987, the contact just stopped.
Which, if you believe it, is its own ending. 2 brothers who wrote home for 25 years until one year, somewhere along the lines, they just didn't.
For the FBI, the silence meant a drowning. For the family, silence was hiding and coming out in certain moments to send some roses for a mother they missed.
Rio de Janeiro, 1975, years after the escape, at a bar.
Fred Brizzy's a Ruskin kid. Grew up with the Anglin boys. Same dirt roads, same swimming holes, same crushes, same back seats. He has since built a career flying small planes full of unlisted cargo all the way past customs, which just screams cocaine, but either way. What matters here is South America is his office, and honesty is not really in his bag of personality traits. Han Solo, he is not.
Oh my gosh. Brizzy's account, and everything in this chapter is Brizzy's account, goes like this. He is in a bar in Rio, and across the room, he recognizes a man. Not from a wanted poster, from childhood. The way you recognize a brother's walk before you actually see his face. John Anglin, 13 years dead, ordering a drink in Portuguese.
John, the story goes, takes him out of the city to a farm. And there on the farm is Clarence, and he's looking much like me, just tan and settled and unbothered. Two of the FBI's most famous drowning victims are just raising cattle in Brazil, and they're doing fine.
And Breezy raises a camera. The photograph shows two men in sunglasses standing easy beside a huge termite mound, squinting into the light. Now, if the caption is true, it is one of the most extraordinary photographs in American criminal history. Because on its own, the photograph proves that two men stood on a farm. Everything else it proves runs entirely through Fred Breezy, customs dodger, and a man of dubious reputation.
In 1992, near the end of his life, he comes to the family with a photo and a tape. On this tape, he tells them the story of the bar and the farm. And on the tape, he improves the legend because I guess the older he gets, the better he was.
That tracks. And Breezy's telling there was no raft at all. The brothers took a stolen electrical cord, tied it to the back of the night ferry, and got towed off the island through the dark like water skiers.
And Back to the Future 2, which contradicts Alan West completely, contradicts the FBI's floating evidence, contradicts the 50 raincoats we spent an entire episode on. Contradictions as far as I can see. It's either a detail only a man who talked to them could know, or it is a tell that he never did. Smugglers improve stories. It is a professional skill. Deathbed confessions are also deathbed confessions.
The family keeps the photo for decades, and in 2005, it finally goes public in a documentary with expert analysis attached.
And we got different opinions. A forensic facial examiner compares the two men against the brothers and concludes it is more than likely them. A retired marshal who carried this case for decades looks at the full package and calls it a game changer.
Now, the working marshals are colder. Their examination points at the men's physical proportions and says these are probably not the Anglins. While conceding the photo can never be fully ruled in or ruled out, it's impossible to verify is where it actually officially lands.
So the photograph does what every piece of evidence in this case does. It splits the room, it hardens both sides into stubborn little granite adults, and it refuses to break the tie like a mom and dad are just outside the room. Sunglasses, grain, and 40-year-old film gives everybody exactly enough doubt to keep their beliefs alive and well.
There are other threads from these years, and one of them starts on the night of the escape itself. A San Francisco police officer on the shoreline reports a boat, pristine, white, sitting dark on the water near Alcatraz with its lights off. It sits, a light blinks on, and it slides away into the dark.
Days later, a dying man reportedly tells a nurse that his accomplices took a boat out that night and picked up 3 men out of the bay. There's 2 accounts now, separated by a lifetime, that happen to rhyme. That's not proof, just kind of the rhyme that makes a decent poem.
And one detail from the Brazil years that we genuinely love, when the Anglin nephews floated the idea of flying down to search for the farm themselves, they were warned off by investigators. Because this is still an open Interpol case. Helping the fugitives, even your own uncles, even now, is a crime.
60 years on, you can still be arrested for finding them. This is how alive this file is. It may be collecting Social Security soon, but dead it ain't.
Now, for 40 years, the entire argument rested on a question nobody had actually tested. Could that raft, those men, that night, have crossed that water? And in 2003, somebody finally tested it. And guess what? It wasn't the government.
It was Mythbusters.
Love them.
And if you don't know, this is a television show whose entire motto is if it sounds unlikely and your 12-year-old self would want to do it, build it and find out.
Like Rose, there was room for Jack. They proved it. There was a whole episode on it, and she could have let Jack live, but she didn't.
Hey, every man in that theater knew that she could have let Jack live.
Jack! Oh, shut up, Rose. You let him die.
Well, he was probably sick of her by then.
He didn't deserve to die.
He could fit.
Anyway, they build the raft to the 1962 specs. Rubberized raincoats, sealed seams, wooden paddles, and on a cold night, they put it in the water at Alcatraz itself and climb aboard.
And they make one decision the official story never seriously mentions. They don't fight the current north towards Angel Island. They ride it. They ride it west, baby. They ride it with the ebb and towards the Golden Gate.
Now, it is a miserable ride. Black water, small chop, arms burning, the lights of the city crawling past slower than anybody wants.
Which, for accuracy purposes, is perfect. If Shawshank has taught us anything, escape is not easy. They didn't have to crawl through 500 yards of foulness, but you'd be damned if they weren't cold and tired, and not even narrated by Morgan Freeman.
Hours of paddling later, a homemade raincoat raft grinds ashore at the Marin Headlands at the north end of the Golden Gate Bridge. Everyone aboard is cold, exhausted, and alive, and the raft is intact.
Their on-air verdict lands in one word: possible. 41 years after the FBI closed its file, 2 special effect guys relitigated the central question in a single episode.
It is a stunt, and stunts do have limits. Safety boats, modern gear, paddlers who ate breakfast and who were not running on prison nerves. But the core finding stands. The raft design works and the bay can be crossed on it if you go with the water instead of against it.
Which is the real question, not whether men could survive the water, whether they could survive the schedule. And that schedule waited another decade for an unlikely source. That's right, the Dutch are coming into the story.
All right, guys. 2014, Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands. Engineers there keep an extraordinarily detailed computer model of San Francisco Bay, built for flood research. Every current, every tide, every hour, simulated down to the minute.
A machine built to keep the Dutch feet dry because you can't wear those little wooden shoes everywhere you go. And one day somebody realizes the model does not care what year you ask it about. It has no idea what Alcatraz is. It has never heard of the Anglins. Sourdough is an unknown commodity. It just knows water, which makes this a very neutral party.
So they ask it about June 11th, 1962. They load the actual tides of that actual night, and they launch simulated rafts from the northeast shore of Alcatraz. Not one raft, boatload after boatload of virtual escapees, departing every few minutes across the night, while the model does to each of them whatever the real water would have done.
And the boats that leave before 11 die because they suck and leave the party early. The ebb grabs them, funnels them out through the Golden Gate, and hands them to the Pacific. Every early raft is gone to the sea.
The boats that leave between 11 and midnight, well, they live. The current carries them not north to Angel Island, where the men were aiming, but west and across to a landing at Horseshoe Bay at the foot of the Golden Gate Bridge. Cold, off target, but on land.
The same stretch of shoreline, give or take, where the Mythbusters landed. The stunt and the supercomputer, 11 years apart, they agree with each other like old friends. And when the Dutch team was asked whether exhausted prisoners could really paddle hard enough, the answer was that nobody knows how well they paddled. But if a man ever had spare energy in his life, it would probably be men fighting for their life and their freedom.
And the model produces one more thing, and it is the one that solidifies this entire case. It follows the debris. Anything shutter jumped at Horseshoe Bay Landing, a paddle, a sealed packet, drifts on the turning tide back east across the bay toward Angel Island.
Guess where the paddle was found? It was found off Angel Island. The packet was found in the same water. The last 2 objects the government held up for decades as proof that the raft broke apart are floating exactly where the model says the leftovers of a successful landing would float. Cue the dramatic music and fainting women and dancing Dutchmen. It is possible, folks.
The evidence for drowned and the evidence for made it are the same evidence. The only variable is the clock.
And the prison's own 1962 estimate puts the launch between 10:30 and 11, just minutes from the edge of the window that works.
Part 1, one more time, sometime after 10, likely closer to 11.
The Rock was never unbeatable. It was a schedule. A man with dish gloves had already proven the water could be beaten with enough madcap energy, and nobody alive can say whether 3 men made their departure time.
Which brings everything back to a police station in the Richmond district in 2013 and an envelope with no return address.
You heard it on the top. The writer says he is John Anglin. He's 83. He's sick. He's the last one left. Bad health insurance. And he offers them a trade. One televised promise. A year of soft time and a doctor in exchange for his exact location.
The arithmetic checks. John Anglin was born in May of 1930. A man writing in 2013 would be 83. It proves nothing. Anyone can subtract. It is simply the kind of small, correct detail that a hoax gets right on purpose, or a dying man gets right for free.
The letter goes quietly into the system. The marshals hand it to the FBI laboratory, and the laboratory does everything a laboratory can do to one page, man. Fingerprints, DNA, handwriting, side by side against John Anglin's own prison file.
And the results come back carrying the least satisfying word in police talk: inconclusive. Not him, not him.
The marshals' public posture hardens like joy kills do. They call it a hoax, a scam, someone out to embarrass the government and skip out on a hospital bill. They may be right.
But here is what everyone can agree happened next. Nothing. Nobody takes the deal. No announcement airs. No promise is made on any television anywhere. And whoever wrote that letter asked for one public sentence. And the answer, forever, is silence.
The public doesn't even hear about this letter until when a San Francisco television station gets a hold of it and puts it on the air. By then, 5 more years have passed. If the writer was real, he was 88. If he was real and sick, he's likely out for a final boat ride to the sea.
The Anglin nephews find out about the letter along with the rest of the world, and it stings. A man claiming to be their uncle wrote that he was dying, and in 5 years, nobody so much as told the family the page existed.
No second letter has ever surfaced. Not to the police, not to the papers, not to Ruskin.
Around the same era, science finally gets its turn with the bones. The Point Reyes remains, the ones that were boxed since 1963, are tested against DNA from the Anglin family.
And it's not a match. The only body this case ever produced is officially nobody to this case.
And still, the file refuses to age out gracefully. In 2022, the marshals released new age-progressed images. 3 faces in their 90s, rebuilt by software, staring out of an active wanted notice. The service is plainly what the file is for now. It stands as a warning. However long it takes, they look. And the deputy who carried this case for years has said, on the record, that he thinks the brothers probably lived and that with no bodies, he can never close it.
Because the marshal's rule is simple and a little bit beautiful, maybe poetic. A warrant lives until the fugitive is proven dead or until they turn 100.
Frank Morris was born September 1st, 1926.
Which means Frank Morris's warrant, the oldest active manhunt paper in America, it runs out in September. Not solved, not answered, aged out like an old office worker.
Oh, wow. The brothers' warrants run into the next decade, and in 2031, when the last one lapses, the United States government will finally, officially, stop looking for 3 men it declared drowned in 1962 without ever once managing to prove it.
So here's where 64 years leaves everything. In the official record, 3 men go into the bay on the night of June 11th, 1962, and the bay keeps all 3, forever, perfectly. It just returns a paddle and some paperwork and never one bone.
In the family's memory, 2 brothers grow old, some are warm. Cars while it is safe, roses for their mother, 2 tall strangers at her funeral, letters to a brother until the late 80s, and then after that, quiet.
And in an evidence room in San Francisco, there is 1 handwritten page from an old man who offered to end the whole mystery for the price of a single televised sentence and some meds. Nobody said the sentence, nobody wrote back, and nobody ever heard from him again.
And out in the bay, the island itself is a museum now. More than 1 million tourists a year file past the escape cells and put their faces to the holes in the wall. And every one of them asks the guide the same question on the way out.
And the honest guides give the government's answer. And then, off record, they give their own. If he was real, then somewhere, a very old man sat in front of a television waiting for a response that never came.
So either the Bay has been holding 3 men for 64 years without ever giving one of them back,
or the letter was true.
Yes, we all made it that night, but barely.
That is A Great Escape from Alcatraz. Both parts. No verdict from us because there's not one to give. The file is open, technically, until September. I like to think they made it to their own Ziateneo.
If you enjoyed this 2-part series, please rate and review Mugshot Mysteries wherever you listen. 5 stars are free, take considerably less time than digging through a prison wall with a spoon, and unlike the Alcatraz escape, leave behind a very useful paper trail. And for more behind-the-scenes content, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Mugshot Mysteries Podcast. And while you're at it, send us your theory. Did Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers drown in the bay? Or did they make it out and spend the rest of their lives being aggressively unavailable? New episodes drop every Monday. But before we go, Gabriel, what did we learn from this series?
We have learned that life is an accordion. It's pervasive, it's endless, it's unknowable, all while playing a song that makes absolutely no sense. Also, they could blow up a raft, y'all. We have learned that cross-dressing can be a viable method to infiltrate a funeral for those times when an invite died in the mail. We have learned that a spoon is extremely useful when a shovel is nowhere to be found. But let's be honest, a spork's where it's at. And lastly, we have learned that men yearn to be free, and in that mindset, even the most audacious of plans seem reasonable, because if Shawshank has taught us anything, you got two things at work here: pressure and time, and the will to get busy living.
Sneaky footsteps in the night, clues that vanish out of sight. Grab your hat and magnifying glass, we'll talk this case and have a blast. Mugshot mysteries, we're on the trail. Twists and turns that never fail. Laughs and chills, it's quite the show. Who did it? Tune in to know. Stolen gem, a secret note, a shady figure in a trench coat. The clock is ticking, the plot gets thick. We'll crack this puzzle quick as a click. Mugshot mysteries, we're on the trail.